So let's go through a step-by-step process on exactly how to do consulting. So assume you have an email list, you have some sort of inbound marketing happening. You've grown a specialty, you've grown an audience, now it's time to get some consulting clients. What is the step-by-step process for you to get consulting clients? All right, so let's say you have an email list. Maybe you have 500 people on that email list. So it's not enormous, but it's enough to reach out to start some one-on-one consulting. I would start by first creating a landing page for people to apply to work with you. It's not just a contact us page, but it's going to have extra information in there. It's going to have their name, their email, their website. Specifically, you're going to want to look at how much are they bringing in right now per month and what's their goal, because most consultants are helping with some sort of financial planning, some sort of way that you're going to grow the business. We want to know that information to say, is it even realistic for this person to jump into consulting? You're going to want to ask questions like, what's your biggest obstacle to success? Where are you stuck? Honestly, why haven't you grown? Get behind the scenes so that before you ever talk to someone, you have a good snapshot of what's going on in their life. So we set up this page, and then I would say send an email out to your list. We want to start with questions, stories, concerns, pains, things like that. Hey, have you been stuck in your business? For me, when I first started, I didn't know up from down, left from right. I wasn't sure where to invest my time and money. For me, I wish I had had a consultant when I first started out that could have helped me move faster in my private practice. I have a few spots that are opening up, and I would love for you to apply, and we can talk about whether or not you are a fit for consulting. So you send this, it's basically a lead letter. It's a lead magnet. It's an email saying to people, hey, why don't you do consulting? Someone goes over, they apply. You can then have it go to an assistant that goes through those and does some phone calls and then gets them scheduled in, does some extra questions, or that can go directly to you when you're first starting out. So then you're going to want to get that person scheduled. You may even have that automatically go to a Calendly link to have that pre-consulting conversation. Now in that pre-consulting conversation, there's a few things that you want to do. You want to start with a summary of what the call is going to be. So for me, this is what it looks like. Hey, so-and-so, I'm so excited about this call today. I have all the information that my assistant went through with you, and I have your application in front of me. I've checked out your website a little bit. I'm really interested in just hearing about your practice and hearing about your goals. My goal for this call is to give you great information, whether or not we work together. And then at the end, I'll tell you where I think the best use of your time and money is. We have enough people that are applying for things that we just want people that are in the right spot. We don't want to put you into consulting if you don't need it. Does that sound good? And then they say yes. So they then feel like, okay, I don't need to worry about this. Joe is on my side. Joe is going to help me decide what's best for me. And then I honestly do that. That's the problem with a lot of people is they do these bait and switch kind of things. They get you to buy in, and then the price is so beyond anything that's normal or natural for you. So what we want to do is we do that call, give awesome information. Here's what I would do. And then the last third or so of the call, we want to transition to here's what I think would be the best model for you. So if it was consulting, I might say something like, I think if we meet together twice a month for 2 months, at 30 minutes each time, we're going to get some very focused attention. We're going to know exactly what's going on in your practice, and then we're going to be able to grow things quickly. I'll be keeping track of it in our project management system that we use. That's called Trello. I'll walk you through how to use that. So if you have ideas of things that you want to make sure we cover when you're maybe standing in line at the grocery store, well, you can just put that right into the app. Then we're not searching for things from text and email and all over the place when we're doing our consulting. We can just dive right in and get a lot done. And then I also give you access to the private Facebook community, all of our digital products. So I go through all of these things. And then I say, typically, if we were to add all that up, this is how much it would be. But because it's a package, and that's where you're lumping it all together, it's going to be this much per month. Now, Jamie Masters taught me that if you say it's going to be $700 per month over 6 months, just pause at that moment, and then you can say, did that give you a heart attack? And if they say, oh my gosh, that's way past what I was thinking, then we can say, okay, let's look at our mastermind group. That's a little cheaper. We could take some of these elements out of it. It doesn't have to be that full 700. Maybe it's going to be 500 or 400 or whatever your price point is. So then from there, you want to send a PayPal link or whatever processing you use. Make sure it's recurring so that you're not billing people or invoicing people. Then once they set it up, right away schedule out all of those sessions. So say we're doing those 8 sessions over 6 months. Well, we would want to get all of those scheduled right away, just so it's in the calendar, everybody knows what's going on. And then from there, we start our onboarding. So the first call that we're gonna do with consulting, I'm gonna teach them how to use Trello. I use the same methods that they use in the one thing within my Trello and my consulting. So if I had an individual I was working with, say his name was Jim, we'd have a column in Trello called Jim's One Thing. And there's literally one thing in that. That is the next thing Jim needs to be doing. We decide at the end of every call what they're gonna be working on. And then we'd have Jim's next things. These are things that are next for Jim all the way up through years from now. Then we have questions that they want to talk about with me. Then we also have tools and resources and completed. We keep it very simple. And then on each call, we're diving into their KPIs, their key performance indicators. What's going to keep us focused on exactly what they're trying to achieve? Maybe they want to have 15 more clients per week. Maybe they want to hire extra clinicians. Maybe they want to work on their big idea like a podcast. We want to make sure that we stay singularly focused on those KPIs. How do we measure this success? So that's one of the first things we do when we start consulting after the Trello walkthrough, is we define those KPIs, those key performance indicators. How are you going to know that you've been successful in consulting? How many clients do you need? How much money do you need? What are you going to feel? How much time away from your practice are you going to have? Those are going to be the types of things that we have as KPIs. And then we walk through that process. Then at the end of consulting, we want to ask, what's the next step? Is it them working on their own for a while? Is it moving into a mastermind group? Is it moving into a membership community? Most people, when they're done with consulting, want to do something more with you if you've done a good job. And so you want to slowly build that whole spectrum so that when people are done with consulting, what's that natural next step for people that have completed consulting? If you want more resources and ideas on how to grow consulting and your private practice, go over to practiceofthepractice.com/resources and you'll get tons of free downloads. We have checklists, we have ebooks, we have walkthroughs galore. It's going to help you grow your consulting and your private practice.